There comes a time in every man's life when he must look in the mirror and ask a hard question. Am I becoming the person I was meant to be? It's not comfort that reveals the truth. It's not routine that shows your greatness. It's challenge. It's resistance. It's the confrontation with your own laziness, your doubts, and your habits. True winners do not rise because they are gifted. They rise because they change, because they decide. Jim Rohn said, if you want to have more, you have to become more. That is the secret. Not to chase results, but to transform yourself into the kind of person who attracts results. The mindset of a winner is rooted in responsibility, not blame, not excuse, but ownership, no matter the pain, no matter the past. Winners stop pointing fingers. They start pointing forward. Because the moment you accept responsibility for everything in your life is the moment you gain the power to change anything. Success is never an accident. It is built day by day by the quiet discipline of those who refuse to live in mediocrity. Winners understand that the pain of discipline is always less than the pain of regret. They get up early when it's hard. They study when it's boring. They train when no one is watching. Why? Because they are not driven by what is easy. They are driven by what is right. You see, the average man seeks comfort, but the winner seeks growth. And growth only comes from discomfort, from doing what most will not. While others are waiting for inspiration, winners act. While others are hoping for a break, winners build. Jim Rohn warned us, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. That is the mindset. Life doesn't owe you success. Life responds to effort, to clarity, to persistence. Winners don't beg, they become. A man becomes unstoppable the moment he gets clear on who he is and what he will no longer tolerate. Winners don't chase approval. They live by values. They don't crave permission. They walk with conviction. This mindset isn't loud. It's not boastful. It's quiet. It's disciplined. It's committed. A true winner doesn't need to convince anyone. They let results do the talking. Their mornings are sacred. Their time is protected. Their mind is fed with books, mentors, and silence, because they know the most valuable real estate in the world is between their ears. If you master your mind, you master your life. Jim Rohn said, cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction. Winners change direction. They don't keep drifting into dead routines. They course correct. They evaluate, they grow. Winners live intentionally. They do let life happen to them. They happen to life. And still, the mindset of a winner is not just ambition. It is humility. The humility to say, I don't know everything, but I'm willing to learn. The humility to admit, I made mistakes, but I will improve. Winners are not arrogant. They're hungry. They understand that every master was once a disaster, that every success story started as a beginner. What separates them is that they never stopped. They fell 7 times and stood up 8. Their dreams were not fantasies. They were plans, backed by work, by sweat, by perseverance. Jim Rohn taught, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. The winner builds that bridge, brick by brick. They don't rush the process. They trust it. They don't expect harvests where they've planted no seeds, they sow. They water. They wait. And when the harvest comes, it is never a surprise. It is the fruit of quiet, invisible, unrelenting effort. Winners live by principle. They have rules for their life, standards. They know what they stand for and what they will not accept. They don't make decisions emotionally. They make them intentionally. They understand that discipline is remembering what you want, even when the mood changes. They don't drift with the winds of impulse. They anchor themselves in purpose. They define success not just by wealth or recognition, but by growth, by impact, by peace. They know that winning is not something you do once. It's something you be thinking. A way of showing up, a way of living. And while the world chases shortcuts, the winner builds foundations. While others complain about problems, the winner trains for solutions. While others sleep, the winner dreams, and then wakes up and gets to work. But perhaps the greatest difference of all is this: winners do not fear failure. They use it. They understand that each setback is a setup for growth, that every closed door sharpens their determination, that the journey itself is the reward. Jim Rohn said, learn how to be happy with what you have while you pursue all that you want. That is balance. That is mastery. The winner is grateful, but never complacent. proud, but never finished. They live today with intensity, but plan for tomorrow with wisdom. Their time is not wasted. Their energy is not scattered. They are focused, directed, purposeful. They know that every action, every decision, every sacrifice adds up. And so they show up daily with consistency, not just motivation, because motivation fades. But discipline lasts. Discipline builds empires. It turns dreams into plans, plans into habits, habits into results. So ask yourself, what mindset are you living with? Are you the kind of man who waits for things to change, or the kind who changes things? Are you driven by comfort or by vision? Winners do not need applause. They are fueled by purpose. They rise not to impurpose, but to express the highest version of themselves. That is the mindset that separates winners. Not talent, not luck, but choice. A choice to take full responsibility, a choice to act, a choice to grow day by day, moment by moment, until who you are matches what you were always meant to become. So many people drift through life, never knowing that they hold the pen to their own story. They wake up, they react, they conform. And in doing so, they bury the fire that once burned in their soul. But the winner, he wakes up with purpose. He doesn't ask, what will the day bring? He asks, what will I bring to the day? Jim Rohn reminded us, don't join an easy crowd, you won't grow. Go where the expectations and the demands to perform are high. And that is exactly what the winner does. He seeks challenge. He surrounds himself with excellence. He feeds on accountability. Because he knows that who you spend time with shapes who you become. Winners do not keep company with complainers, gossipers, or victims. They choose to walk with visionaries, with builders, with disciplined minds who sharpen them like iron sharpens iron. Your environment either fuels your rise or suffocates your potential. Choose wisely. But even more powerful than your environment is your philosophy, your beliefs about life, effort, and possibility. Jim Rohn said, your personal philosophy is the major factor in determining the quality of your life. Winners cultivate a philosophy of growth, of ownership, of progress. They do not fear hard truths. They embrace them. They don't lie to themselves to feel better. They face the facts to get better, because the winner knows nothing changes until you do. If you want more income, become more valuable. If you want better health, become more disciplined. If you want more peace, become more aligned. And if you want success, stop waiting for it to knock. Build the door, install the handle, and open it yourself. That's the mindset that separates winners. Action over waiting, comfort. Truth over illusion. There is no such thing as overnight success. Only years of quiet. Invisible preparation that finally becomes visible to the world. The winner understands that success is not found in the spotlight. It's forged in the dark. In the early mornings when no one is watching. In the decisions made when no one is applauding. In the sacrifices that no one ever sees. But the winner sees them. He knows they matter. He knows that every choice compounds, every skipped workout, every wasted hour, every broken promise. It all adds up. But so does every rep, every book read, every uncomfortable conversation, every hard choice made in the direction of growth. The winner plays the long game. He doesn't need fast results. He builds lasting change. Because he knows success is not something you achieve. It's something you earn through identity, character, and consistency. And what of adversity? The storms that inevitably come to every man's life. The winner doesn't hope for a life without storms. He becomes the kind of man who thrives in them. Jim Rohn said, it's not what happens that determines your future. It's what you do about what happens. That's the cornerstone. When life breaks others, the winner builds. When others quit, the winner doubles down. When others hide, the winner faces the storm. Not because he is fearless, but because he has decided that fear will never be his master. He uses pain as fuel, failure as feedback, delay as a sharpening tool. The winner doesn't panic when the plan falls apart. He adapts. He doesn't drown in disappointment. He recommits. This is resilience. Not just the ability to bounce back, but to come back better, wiser, stronger, more focused than ever before. Every man is given a life, but only a few ever build one. And that is the choice winners make. They don't simply exist. They construct. They design. They craft their days like an artist shaping a masterpiece. Jim Rohn said, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. That's the truth no one wants to hear. but it's the truth that transforms lives. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do the right few things consistently. Wake up early, move your body, feed your mind, set your goals, guard your time, control your emotions, work with intention, reflect with honesty, and once, not twice, but for years. That's how you change your life. Not in a moment of hype, but in the 1,000 daily choices that no one claps for. Until one day they will. Legacy, that's the final word. Because true winners don't live only for themselves. They live for something greater. They understand that the greatest mark of a man is not what he builds, but what he leaves behind. And what is legacy? It is impact. It is character. It is the lives you've touched, the example you've set, the principles you stood for. Winners don't just want to succeed. They want to become someone worth remembering. Jim Rohn's wisdom echoes across generations, not because he shouted, but because he lived with depth. And that's what you're called to do. Not just to chase success, but to embody it. To become a living example of what discipline, vision, and integrity can build. So now the question comes back to you. What will you choose? Will you be another man who drifts, who waits, who hopes things get better without ever getting better himself? Or will you rise? Will you decide to become a man of purpose, a vision of action? That is the mindset that separates winners. A man who takes full ownership, who disciplines himself before the world has to, who builds a life of principle, not popularity, who dares to dream, and then works until the dream becomes reality. Because in the end, you either make excuses or you make progress. You either live by default or by design. You either become the man you were meant to be or you settle. And winners, they don't settle. They rise. Now listen closely, because this is where everything changes. You have one life, just one. And the clock is always ticking. The days you waste will never return. The opportunities you ignore will not wait forever. Time will move with or without you. And the greatest tragedy is not failure. It is regret. The haunting feeling of knowing you could have, should have, but didn't. The winner understands this, and that's why he moves. Not someday. Today. Not when it's perfect now. Because he knows the right time is not a date. It's a decision. And that decision is yours. The greatest lie ever told is that success is reserved for the lucky. It's not. It belongs to the intentional, to the disciplined, to those who have made a vow to themselves that they will not die with their potential still inside them. Jim Rohn said, "For things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better." Winners tattoo that on their soul. They do not outsource their growth. They own it. They don't wait for better circumstances. They become better men. They realize that if you want to lead others, you must first lead yourself. If you want to inspire the world, you must first be willing to master your own habits, your own fears. That's what separates them. Self-leadership. Look around. Most people are merely surviving. But winners live. They attack the day. They don't numb their lives with distraction. They face their pain, their flaws, and their weaknesses head on. Because they know what's on the other side of paying power. They know that behind every hard thing they avoid is the breakthrough they need. They lean into discomfort because it's where strength is born. The easy road is crowded. The hard road is quiet, but it leads to greatness. And that's where winners walk. Not for applause, not for attention, but because they refuse to live beneath their potential. They have tasted what it means to grow, to evolve, to build something real. And once you taste that, there's no going back. What do you believe about yourself? That's the real question. Because your mindset is your ceiling. If you see yourself as a victim, life will always be unfair. If you see yourself as powerless, every obstacle will feel permanent. But if you see yourself as a builder, as a learner, as a man who gets back up no matter how many times he's knocked down, then nothing can stop you. Winners don't have easier lives. They have stronger beliefs. They walk into every room knowing they can learn something. They walk into every setback knowing they can rise from it. And they carry themselves with a quiet fire, not arrogance, but certainty. The kind of certainty that only comes from hours of effort, from thousands of private battles no one will ever see. And finally, winners understand this. Life is not about getting more. It's about becoming more. It's not about what you achieve. It's about who you become in the process. That's the game. That's the goal. To become a man you respect. A man your future self would thank. A man whose presence elevates the room. Whose discipline creates stability. Whose integrity builds trust. That's legacy. That's power. That's what the winner fights for. So stand up, not just physically, but mentally, spiritually. Stand up in your habits. Stand up in your mindset. Stand up in your daily choices. Say no to distraction. Say no to excuses. Say no to being average. This is your life, and no one is coming to save you. No one is coming to build your dream. No one is coming to force you to grow. That responsibility is yours. And that, my friend, is the greatest gift life has ever given Yug. The power to choose to rise, choose to become, choose to live with the mindset that separates winners. And Saab, here we are. The moment after the storm, after the fire, after the mirror has been held to your face, the words have been spoken, the truth laid bare. Now you must decide what kind of man you will be. Not tomorrow, now, not in theory, in action. Because if you've listened this far, then something deep inside you is still alive. That fire, the one life tried to silence, it's still burning. And maybe it's faint. Maybe it's buried beneath years of distraction, disappointment, or fear. But it's there. And that spark, that's all you need. Winners know how to build a wildfire from a single ember. Because they've learned the secreting, intensity is born from intention. Purpose fuels energy. Vision ignites discipline. And discipline, sustained over time, transforms everything. You were not made to sleepwalk through life. You were made to build, to shape, to forge a life that matters. Jim Rohn said, set a goal to become a millionaire, not for the money, but for what it will make of you to achieve it. That's the mindset. Not to collect trophies, but to grow into someone who deserves them. Not to chase success for the world to see, but to become a man that you can be proud of when no one's watching. Because the true prize is not the car, the house, or the applause. It's you, the disciplined, focused, resilient version of you, the man who keeps promises, the man who commands respect, not by volume, by values. And when it gets hard, and it will get hard, remember this pain is temporary. But regret lasts forever. Every rep you push through, every early morning, every sacrifice, it all counts. Even when it feels like no one sees you, even when the results are slow, even when the dream feels far. It all counts. Because winners know that progress is often invisible before it becomes undeniable. Stay the course. Trust yourself. Let them underestimate you. Let them doubt. That's fuel. Every doubter, every setback, every lonely night. It's all adding weight to the foundation you're building. And one day, that foundation will be unshakable. Not because you were lucky, but because you refused to quit. Because you showed up when it was hard. Because you stayed true when no one was clapping. Because you fought for your future when it would have been easier to stay the same. This is your turning point. Right here. Right now. Don't walk away from this and go back to the same version of yourself. Don't waste this fire. Take it, use it. Let it drive you to create new standards, new habits, new vision. Write a new story. Not one written by fear or laziness or mediocrity, but one written by purpose, courage, and relentless commitment. Winners don't just hear wisdom. They act on it. They live it. That's the final test. Will you live this? So let the world see what happens when a man commits. Let them see what happens when a man draws a line in the sand and says, from this moment on I rise. No more drifting. No more waiting. No more excuses. You were made to win, to build. And now, it's your time. There will come a day. Perhaps not tomorrow, but someday when you'll look back at this exact moment, and you'll remember the decision you made. The moment you stopped blaming, stopped waiting, and started becoming. The moment you took the steering wheel of your life with both hands and said, I go forward from here, no matter what. And when that day comes, you will smile. Not because the journey was easy, but because it was yours. Because you earned every inch. Because you chose the hard path and grew into a man worthy of the dream. This is the final lesson Jim Rohn left us with. The ultimate reason for setting goals is to entice you to become the person it takes to achieve them. You were never chasing the goal. You were chasing the man you could become in the pursuit. That's the mindset that separates winners. They don't just want the result. They want the refinement, the transformation, the quiet, disciplined evolution of self. They understand that success is not a destination, it's a direction chosen daily through action, through discipline, through purpose. So take a breath, feel the weight of this moment, not as pressure, but as privilege. You're not just alive, you're aware. You've been given insight, truth, fire, and now. The only question that matters is this: what will you do with it? Will you drift? Or will you design? Will you stay the same? Or will you rise? Will you live the rest of your life as a memory of who you were, or as a legend of who you became? The world does not need more noise. It needs more men on fire, men who stand for something, who walk with courage, who lead with example, and that man can be you. So go now, build with honor, live with discipline, lead with fire, and remember, the winner is not chosen by fate, he is forged by mindset.